Welcome back to International Finance. I am Andy Kim, your Dr. Finance, and we are going through Chapter 11, which is about international banking business. Just to give you an outline of this chapter, well, we're going to cover international banking services, and then we're going to move on to the types of international banking offices. I want you to familiarize yourself with these terminologies, most of it, because so many of you aspire to work for international banks as a foreign banker or something, 외국계 은행 kind of things, right? There are some of these firms located inside Korea, in Seoul, some place in Jeonju, some place in Busan, right? You want to send your resume to each and every one of them, please. So that's why you need to familiarize yourself with these kind of things. Number two, as you develop your career into these foreign banks, or maybe some of our Korean banks will internationalize successfully more and then aggressively go ahead and expand their businesses. You may want to work for one of those branches and then explore those regions in any of these forms, right? So familiarize yourself. And then capital adequacy standard, that's what we're going to study as well. And then we're going to move on to international money market. There we're going to learn some concepts about euro currency market, LIBOR kind of things, interest rates in floating rate market, and then euro credits and forward rate agreements and euro notes and euro commercial papers and euro dollar interest rate futures contract, all these kind of things we're going to cover. And then we'll move on to international debt crisis and its history, and there's something called the debt for equity swap and the solution in Brazil's case, and then move down to Asian financial crisis, and then global financial crisis and its consequences. Then we'll be done with this chapter. Now, by the way, you may wonder why I look a bit different today, because I'm using today Bandicam. Yes, that's Bandicam is I don't know, Korean software. I was using Everlac to videotape my lecture, but as it turns out, Bandicam has more precise resolution for my this face part or something, right? So I decided to use this one from today, but it comes with a cost, right? The negative side of it is that I cannot move this face picture flexibly at random time as I wish. So in contrast, I could do that and move around my faces from here to there to there to there and expand and play with it and like this in Everlac, but I cannot do that here. So that's one painful part, but so far it's okay. Okay, clear resolution. I hope you like it. Anyway, so that's that. And international banking services. Well, international banks do everything domestic banks do, and they arrange trade financing and arrange foreign exchanges, and they offer hedging services for foreign currency receivables and payables through forward and option contracts. And then they offer investment banking services where it is allowed, right? And there are some banks specifically created to facilitate this trade financing, actually. The rest of the foreign exchange or the rest of the functions over there naturally builds up so that if you give me any banking names, bankers' house names, right? They were spontaneously sprang up from different kinds of businesses. But some banks like Deutsche Bank, they were created, okay, for the single-minded purpose of facilitating trade financing. Deutsche Bank, Deutsche. Yeah, Deutsche Bank. 1870 or something, when there was a Franco-Prussian war, right? Prussian war, 1871 or something. Why did they create this trade finance focused banks? Because the Germany was, Germany was split into 200 different kingdoms, right? Small towns like Gangnam-gu or Seocho-gu, there's Seocho Kingdom, Gangnam Kingdom or Gangbuk Kingdom, all different small parts of German, right? They were all independent countries, right? Very complicated, very different currencies, right? And then these German people actually had a strong manufacturing capabilities. Remember Benz, Daimler-Benz, and then Audi kind of guys working over there, right? Manufacturing the very good products, and then they wish to export to all different countries. You can imagine that pretty much, right? Even right now, okay? The thing is, they had to export it. For that part, when they export it, there's a trust issue. I told you, it's about money. The banking is about a trust issue, okay? Information production is their major business. So when you are exporting your goods, okay, there are somebody who import your goods, right? And then they have the money, and then the importers have to send you the money to the exporters, right? But they would say, I don't know you, right? And then you also say, I don't know you. How can I send my Benz to you, right? And then there gets in the international bankers among or between two different countries. Let's say this is over here, America, okay, transatlantic America, and then somebody has to get in there and then do some trade financing. Letter of credit has to be sent, and the banker's acceptance has to be written. This is all about chapter 20 over there, right? This kind of trade financing has to be there. There's no trust except there is a middleman called bankers, okay? Until this time of 1870, there was no banks coming from this German people, okay? So that they had to resort to other countries' banks. For example, French banks or British banks, or like so many of the Jewish banking families like Warburg or Rothschild or Hope families, right? Or Barings, right? All these kind of other countries' banks. Because why not German? Because Germany was split, scattered into 200 different countries. To build up a big banking business, you need to collect, get together, and combine your capital. But 200 different scattered around, it's very difficult. So they had to intentionally, right, claim, right, this is for the Deutsche people, German people, right, to facilitate their trade and finance business. Deutsche people, Deutsche Bank kind of idea was going on over there, and then they created it like this, trade financing. Very interesting one, right? And then arranging foreign exchanges, coin changes, right? Imagine 200 different countries, right? Converting one currency to the other, and then there, and then triangular arbitrage. 200 different, yeah, that's something you had to do, right? By the way, and then besides other countries as well. Yeah, so complicated. But anyway, foreign exchange. That's where this Rothschild took off their business. Coin exchanges, right? In Frankfurt, Germany, and offer hedging services for foreign currency like that, right? That's their histories over there. Anyway, so international banking services have been naturally growing in like that. And then if you wish to look at the table for the 30 largest international banks, you see this chart as of March 2018. So let's look at it. Number one, ICBC. What is that? Chinese Bank of International Chinese Banking Corporation or something. 공상은행. No, Chinese Construction Bank is 건설은행 is over there, and then 공상은행. I think this is Industrial and then Commercial Bank of China, ICBC. Yeah, industrial. Shan, and then Shang, 인항, 공司, right? And then Bank of China, right? 中国银行, right? And then that's 1 to 3 is all Chinese. You see, I mean, if you take back, right? Rewind it like about 10 years. These 1 to 3 were all American banks or something before financial crisis. I bet you JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America or Citigroup, they have been there, but it's over here, China. And then if you rewind it even further to like back into 1990s, early 1990s or late 1980s, these were Japanese banks, right? Tokyo Mitsubishi, right? I don't know how to say it in Japanese, but Mitsubishi UFJ, right? Financial, Mizuho, all these kind of guys were top, okay, in terms of asset size. So here are some couple of messages if you look at it, right? By looking at the big size of it, some of these people may say, if you're from China, you may feel very proud that, oh yeah, money ruled the world and China ruled the world. Well, congratulations. But at the same time, it comes and goes and comes and goes. And bank in Japan used to be number one, right? 1980s or something. And then HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation, that's UK bank. Oh, why is that so? Well, this is British bank doing business exclusively for Far East, like Shanghai and Hong Kong. And it has a lot to do with this, colonization of this Hong Kong and area like that, right? British Empire expansion. JP Morgan Chase is over there, number 6. Jamie Dimon is the CEO, and then that's the biggest bank in the United States. And there comes French bank, BNP Paribas. Is that the correct pronunciation? Or Banque Nationale de Paris, et Paribas. So used to be Banque Nationale de Paris, separate, and then Paribas Bank was separate, and then they merged together. Okay. And then Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, Mizuho, Sumitomo. Yeah, you see these Japanese banks as well. Banco Santander is a very interesting one, which is coming from Spain, right? If you think about the economic size of Spain, right, the GDP is close to, about Korea, South Korea. But we don't have this big bank coming from South Korea over here, but they do. Oh, interesting. Why? Because Hispanic in America. Société Générale from France is over here. And then Bank of Communication and Postal Service, savings of Bank of China all over here. Lloyds Bank, Royal RBC, Bank, Canadian banks and over here. And the Netherlands Bank, Dutch Bank, right? And then all these different banks are over here. I want you to familiarize yourself with these names of it, right? So that you'll be able to, walk around in the city of Seoul and find out the branches. Oh, that's, RBC Seoul branch is over here, and then, Goldman Sachs over there, Bank of America over there. You can check it out and then send your resume. Yes, it's all about sending your resume and then getting a job, right? Anyway, so the reason for foreign banking, the next reason, okay, is the Home Nation Information Service, okay? Local firms in a foreign market may be able to obtain more complete information on trade and financial markets in the multinational banks, Home Nation, than is obtainable from foreign domestic banks. So it's all about information, right? In Samsung groups, right? Samsung 생명 or Samsung financial groups, they have a reputation of having the best information all around, even better than Korean CIA. Why? Because they are running for the money, right? They have to, for the boss as well as for money. There's no bureaucracy. They have to be efficient in processing and gathering all these information for their own businesses, right? They were very, very informed. They have been, right? It's been known inside Korea. And if you look at the banking history, many of the bankers, right, in Europe, they were sitting at the center of the information flows. And then sometimes they overlap together with those CIAs and then the spies and all these kind of, because they live in foreign countries and then they speak foreign languages very fluently, and then as if they are those domestic, they're foreign nationals, right? They are very, very extremely smart. So the chance of getting into the high quality information gets very, very higher. So naturally just overlaps together sometimes, so that they have difficulties and then downside risk together with it. But that's something, it naturally comes together with this banking business. One has to be careful about, but that's it, right? 독립자금 운전책, 운반책, right? All these kind of secret fund flowing, right? Yeah, those smart guys, multilingual and good at numbers and good at language at the same time, which means high quality brain in the first place. This is international banking, all right? And together with it comes the prestige if you become successful, right? Goldman Sachs, right? Very large multinational banks have high perceived prestige, which can be attractive to new clients, right? They trust your intelligence, they trust your work ethics, and then, brand equity naturally comes with it, right? And then in 1997 and 8 financial crisis in Korea, right? In Goldman Sachs, the top global bank, there was a special position called 대사 or ambassador in Korea branch. That was a special connection between the Korean government and the top global bank over there, because they, Korean government was had a need to have a fluent information flow with this top foreign banks, and then the foreign banks over here, they wanted to have some good information as well. And then so they, the ambassador position was just working in between, so that the Korean government would have no trouble getting financed from, raising capital from the global money center, Wall Street, like that, right? So you need some direct line, right, with that. So top banks have been working in that fashion as well. And then reason for international banks, right? Regulatory advantage is there. Multinational banks are often not subject to the same regulations as domestic banks. The prestige factor is there, right? And then ambassador, right, position tells a lot about it. It's kind of a special law, right? Exemption goes on. Wholesale defensive strategy is also available. Banks follow their multinational customers abroad to avoid losing their business at home and abroad. So Samsung Electronics working in America, right? Well, if Samsung Electronics or is a good important client in Korea, right, like Hana Bank or Kookmin Bank, they had better connect it to Samsung America in their Uri Bank New York branch or Hana은행's LA branch. They have to be working busily with the Samsung's America operations over there, right? So you want to have some international exposure going together with your clients, corporate clients, like that. Coverage has to expand. Retail defensive strategy. Multinational banks also compete for retail services such as traveler's check and tourist and foreign business market. Right. Now, transaction cost, multinational banks may be able to circumvent government currency controls sometimes, right? And then the growth perspective, foreign markets may offer opportunities for growth not found domestically. This one is a serious issue for Korean banks right now and has been a hot issue for Singaporean banks for a long time. Why? Because the population growth has been stagnant. And in Korea, it's started to decrease. No future inside Korean peninsula. 수축 사회 is like shrinking down, right? You don't want that as a businessman, as a banker. So you want to pursue offshore opportunities, international opportunities. That's why Mireasset or all these kind of Korean banks are keeping their eyes wide open and then looking for opportunities outside, right? Foreign banks, they're becoming like that. And risk reduction, well, it's about portfolio, international portfolio diversification and then your portfolio risk goes down. What kind of portfolio? Your loan portfolio. Okay. Greater stability of earnings with diversification. You can achieve it through internationalization. So that's partly where the global business administration majors can add value to this banking business, right? So I hope you liked my presentation, and then thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.